Hi everybody, it's Joey Remenyi here from seekingbalance.com.au, and I'm really excited to be talking to another one of my friends from around the world who has found me, read my book, and has volunteered their time generously to talk about their experience of living with vertigo, tinnitus, chronic invisible symptoms, and finding light at the end of the tunnel. So I would love to introduce you to Silvia, who's calling in from Catalonia, a beautiful part of the world. And I just want to extend my gratitude. Thank you for your time and welcome to the call, Silvia.
No, thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to explain my case, my situation, and everything. Thank you.
Can you let the listeners know, how did you come across Rocksteady? What was the story?
It actually was my sister, because we had a conversation over the phone, because she doesn't live in Catalonia, she lives in London. And I was explaining her what was happening to me. And she told me, I think that I know someone that maybe can help you, because she had some problems with her health also. And I don't know how she ended up in your website. And she sent me the link of your website, and that was the beginning of everything, because I started just reading the information, the free audios, the everything. And I saw that you had this book, and that was it. It was thanks to my sister.
Great. And I think you mentioned before we started recording that you found the medical investigation process difficult
Very
and
difficult.
I suppose
Mhm.
limited. What
Very limited.
what
Mhm.
was the benefit in reading this book? Like, what did you get out of this book that you couldn't otherwise learn, no matter how hard you tried on Google or through doctor's appointments? What did you find the book offered you? I think that's what the
That
listeners would be interested to hear.
that there, that it was okay to feel the way that I was feeling, because sometimes they made me feel that I was a weird case, that something else was happening with my health, and I needed to get tested and tested over again,
Yeah.
and they were not explaining me the symptoms properly. And I am a scientist, because this is what I do for living, and for me it was very important understanding why I was feeling that way, and they were not properly explaining that. And you did it in the book. You explain each detail. It's true that you don't focus on symptoms, it's true, but at the same time, you give a knowledge about what can happen to you if you have this kind of problem. And it's okay to feel like that. For me, they were making me feel that I was a weird case, that I should not be feeling the way that I was feeling. And this is hard, because when you feel something, but they tell you that it's not right, it makes you feel very insecure, that maybe something else is going on with your health. For me, it was basic understanding and learning that it was okay, and that there was a way to get rid of these symptoms, of this situation, a way of healing. Was very important for me.
Yeah. And I think what happens there is a combination of things. So if anybody has these unwanted invisible symptoms and sensations in their body, whether it's tinnitus sounds or vertigo, dizziness, or chronic pain, even the list goes
Mm-hmm.
on, and then feeling
Mm-hmm.
depression and anxiety and isolation and loss of confidence, and
Mm-hmm.
it really is a whole package of a dilemma. And I think health professionals and medical doctors find it difficult to have the time to deeply explain things. They're quick appointments, there's so much to cover. And as
Mm-hmm.
far as the health professional might be concerned, you're not dying,
Mm-hmm.
everything's coming up normal enough or good enough. So we get that kind of medical clearance and that told to
Mm-hmm.
live with it, deal with it, or
Mm-hmm.
fingers crossed it will go away. And
Yeah.
that was one of the reasons why I wrote this book, because
Mm-hmm.
it's a complex interaction
Mm-hmm.
through our neural pathways from our body, from our ears, from our eyes, from our brain, etc. And it
Mm-hmm.
takes time to understand from a scientifically based conversation of why do I feel what I feel? And also, why is that okay? How could I look at this situation differently rather than I'm abnormal and my body's let me down, I'm broken? What if my body's perfectly fine and these neural patterns are error messages or messages from my body indicating I need to update some software, make some changes in my life. How can I explore that? So this book was really trying to fill that gap where doctors don't necessarily have the knowledge or the time to have that conversation. And also, I'd love to hear your opinion or your experience. There's something about slowly reading a book, don't you think? It's different to watching a film or seeing a doctor or going to an informative or even Googling. There's something very slow and reassuring about learning through reading. And do you think there is something in that you needed time to absorb this knowledge, because even as a scientist, it takes time to kind of let the understanding arrive?
I think it's very, you need to read it slowly and read it several times because it's new information and you need to understand everything, because there is a lot of information. You're getting a lot of information from the doctors, from the websites, and the book is giving you very interesting information, and you need to digest, because at the beginning for me, understanding what there was on a body scan, it was also difficult because I practiced yoga a long time ago, but I do not meditate, and just thinking about feeling my body again, because there was this kind of disconnection that I could not feel my body, and that's why I needed just to try to understand and go over and over and read it several times, and then I understood, okay, what she is she's giving me this information, and what she is telling me to do is this, and you need time because you also don't have the full skills to understand everything, because your mind is not in proper conditions. Sometimes you cannot think clearly because your brain is full of information, you feel foggy, your eyes are not working properly. That's why for me it was very important just to keep reading your book and read everything several times, okay, to try to fully understand everything.
Yeah, and I think so. Step one in healing these chronic invisible symptoms that are completely debilitating and can lead to a very poor prognosis and difficult outcome. I think the key to preventing that or reversing and recovering is education. And we need to understand scientifically what's possible and what's not possible, because there's no use wasting our energy and exhausting ourselves or even spending money on things that are a waste of time and not evidence based. So I think having that basic education is very important for our confidence and for our decision making process on how am I going to tackle and navigate my healing journey. And of course, the book really focuses on how it's not just a physical problem. There's also emotional, mental, and spiritual parts involved in any person's healing journey and recovery. And I think it's very difficult to treat any human being as just a physical thing, because there's so much more to us. We're complex and miraculous beings with a lot of interrelated perceptions. And all of this impacts our neural firing system, which I do discuss in the book. I'm wondering, after reading Rocksteady, it sounds like you read it a few times. First, maybe first was superficial and quick, maybe, and then you went back through a second time. And did you have a go at the home exercises? So you put the book down and stop reading, and you start practicing. And did you use the online workbook that comes with it to give you those extra resources as well? Tell us about the home practice that you explored.
Well, I started with the body scan, that it was the easiest one. But then I started also to practicing some movement exercise that you were recommending, okay? And it was okay. I was feeling good with myself. I was starting feeling confidence. But my main problem at the beginning was feeling my body again, because I was not feeling my body. And that's why my main goal was like, okay, Silvia, just focus on trying to connect your brain with your body again, because even that it seems easy, for me it was very difficult. That's why my main goal, and I can tell you that has been like that for almost 1 month and a half, something like that, is just trying to do the body scan properly, because just with this one it was hard for me, it was difficult. And then with the other exercise, and I started feeling confidence, that I could just be standing up, walking, and doing regular things without feeling of well, with feeling the dizziness, but without being affected that much for it. No? Just trying to learn to live with this dizziness feeling and the problem with my vision. No?
Mm-hmm. And that can be a good starting point, but I think it's really important to not limit ourselves to that perspective of being stuck, because we don't have to live with it. We can completely
No.
change the brain. But to start with, we have to start somewhere. And if we have these neural messages telling us that we're dizzy or we're moving or we're not quite right in some way, we have to essentially trick the brain and override the brain. And that starts with feeling the body. Because often if we are feeling anxious, worried, or traumatized in any way, we block off all of that feeling and we dissociate and disconnect, and we can feel even more spacey. And so learning to drop and feel and sense through the skin and the muscles and the bone and getting back into our physical arms and legs and feet is like the building blocks to building those new neural pathways and making them louder. And I'm curious, as you reconnected your head and your body as you described it, did you also choose desired neural sensations for yourself, which I think is a chapter 2 exercise?
Yeah.
And would you
Yeah.
be willing to share any of your desired sensations,
Yeah.
those neural networks that you're building?
Yeah, steadiness. That
Steadiness.
steadiness is for the important one. Courage. That I want to be strong again. I feel strong and capable of doing things. Happiness. No? And also I want to have normal vision, because I have problems with my vision all the time, and it's that I want to have. No? But especially happy and strong. I want to feel in control again of my life and my body.
Yeah.
And it's what I am practicing. But my desired feelings have been changing, because at the beginning were different. But I don't know, it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, I changed them. When I start feeling more my body, and I start thinking which parts of my body could be related with these desired feelings,
Yeah.
I changed them. And I decided that these ones were going to be my desired feelings.
So it started with wanting to feel steady, courageous, strong, capable, or resourceful, and happy, and then also clear or stable vision. And what did it evolve to?
No, these are my desired feelings now. No, at the beginning it was more like calm and safe. I needed to feel safe again.
Yeah.
Okay, safe because I was not feeling safe. I was feeling very overwhelmed with everything. No, and no, for me it was a different approach to start feeling my body. It's like my doctors were not even worried about what I was telling them, that I was not being able to feel my body. And he was telling me, it's okay because you have these kind of symptoms. It's okay that you cannot connect your body with your mind. But you told me it's very important to do that. It's very important with the body, it's time to connect your body and your brain. No? And for me, it was a game changer, because it's like you need to feel your body. And this is something that I could not do it. I didn't, well, I guess it was for all the symptoms, not that I was having.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it's essential. We must regain our capacity to locate and feel our sensory body. So it's called proprioception. It's our touch system, and it actually makes up 30% of our balance system. And in addition to that, our touch system. So we're just simply feeling the clothing on my skin or feeling myself rub my arm. That's coming through touch neurons that are directing information to my brain. And that exact same touch system plays a very important role in moderating the emotional brain, the limbic system. Because if I'm burning in a fire, I feel hot, I feel burnt. There's a physical sensation associated with that traumatic burn, right? Same with drowning. If I'm drowning, I feel wet, I feel suffocated. I feel the water on my skin. Or if I'm in a hurricane or a cyclone, I'll hear it and I'll feel the wind, I'll feel the pressure change. They're physical sensations that our brain associates with that danger, and then enables us to make the choices and the behavioral decisions to find safety. And so what happens in a modern day existence is we're anxious about things that are not there. Like we're anxious about a job interview, or we're anxious about not being good enough or not earning enough money, or we're anxious about our symptoms in our body. And so what happens when we re-engage with the touch sensations is it tells our emotional brain, false alarm, I'm actually safe. I'm sitting on a chair. I'm at home. There's no flood. There's no fire. There's no violence. There's no cyclone. There's no bushfire. And the emotional brain has an opportunity to then calm down, which you said was one of your desired neural patterns. And we need to be able to manipulate and access that emotional brain and calm it down. And the funny thing is a lot of the times we try talking to ourselves and we try using language, but that emotional brain doesn't speak language, right? And we have to find a different way. And so using the body and using the touch signals, the emotional brain gets information as well as the balanced brain or the inner ear networks. And that applies also to people who experience tinnitus or sounds in their bodies. Accessing touch helps us to come back to inner peace and quietness and silence, because that's in the body. It's not really necessarily living up here. Yeah. So can you share? Yeah.
Es que I remember especially one day that I was feeling extremely dizzy, that I started doing the body scan just on the floor. And it was the first day I could just start feeling my body again, and everything stopped. The dizziness stopped. And for me, it was the first time, no? And then my husband, he came to my room, to the room that I was laying on. What are you doing? A body scan? Just leave me alone, please, 5 minutes more. Because I was feeling that everything was under control for the first time.
Yeah.
No? After trying several times. And this power of feeling that you can make it stop depending how, if you feel, if you touch, if you feel your body and feeling the floor and this kind of, it's very powerful. It gives you the strength to keep going, not to think, okay, I can do something about that.
Yeah.
It's I can, and it's very powerful. It's very revealing. For me, it was unbelievable, the feeling.
Yeah, I remember the same moment in my life when I felt symptomatic. I heard tinnitus, I felt dizziness and anxiety, and I actually consciously made a choice to use my breath and to feel my skin around my rib cage, and I calmed down and I centered, and I think I was in the car, and I felt the seatbelt and I felt the steering wheel, and I completely overrode all of the symptomatic messages, and I taught my brain to come back into a center and back into normal. And it was very powerful because I did it. I made the choice. I made the changes. I shifted the neural networks that were active. Instead of focusing on the symptoms and the trauma and the anxiety, I focused on what was present in the car, in that moment, in the breath, in my body, and using that body scanning touch mechanism to enhance the neural message, the neural signals. And it's kind of like, don't believe what you read in a book, feel it. Because when you feel it, there's no going backwards. It is life-changing. And I think it's really key to remember that nobody else can activate those neural networks for me. I have to do it. I have to do it through my conscious choice and through my clarity of knowing, what am I feeling right now? How do I desire to feel right now? And how do I close that gap? What strategies can I use to support my neural networks firing in ways that I want? And that's really what this whole book is about. It's about having the skills and tools to choose, because sometimes life is not fun and it's awful and difficult and challenging. And we have to have skills and tools to move through those challenges and to not get stuck in chronic, persistent pain or symptom pathways or anxiety and depression and isolation. And we need to learn how to manipulate our sensory pathways, our belief systems, our thoughts, our emotions, the kind of the whole package, how to shift it into an environment where we can feel stable, calm, confident, courageous, resourceful, steady, and to have the tools to constantly bounce back there. Assuming
and you're providing those tools with a book, you know, and it's these kind of tools are not very available for me. It was the first time that I was hearing about different techniques and the way that I could use them. No? And this is very important to know that there is a different way to do things, no? And you can empower yourself and just try them and keep working, and don't get desperate, because sometimes it's hard, no? It's like feeling your body again, understanding what does it mean that I need to do, no? It's reading again, understanding. And also, I think what is very useful are the cases, the people that have been gone through all these different type of differences, the personal experience, no? The video that you have also on your website, because they explain their process, and I think it helps you to understand what you need to keep doing, no? That you need to do exactly, no? Because it's the first time about neuroplasticity, it's a little bit difficult to understand, no? You see the neurons connecting and so on, and it's like, how I can going to do that through feeling, and it's a process. It's like what I want to tell people, don't get desperate. It's a process. You learn. Okay, you keep doing, as you said. No, it's important just to keep practicing doing, and there is going to come one day that you're going to start feeling and thinking and understanding the whole process. No?
And I think it's important to remember there is a difference between doing and feeling. And we generally don't heal if we just do things. It's like you can do yoga, and that might not help anything. You just can do yoga, and it doesn't mean anything, because yoga can be really diluted, especially if it's in a yoga class or whatever. Actually, the whole Rocksteady process is based on the traditional foundations and philosophies of yoga. Whereas I have yoga teachers who come and do my course, and they're like, whoa, I've never thought about it like this. So just going to mainstream or generic yoga, Pilates, meditation doesn't necessarily help. And I think dropping into this very personal place of presence and choosing is the game changer. And what I love about it is you don't have to have intelligence. You know, young children can do this. Older people where English is a second language are doing it. So there is no barrier. It's a very simple, human, compassionate, kind process. And there's also the Facebook group where people are sharing how they're exploring neuroplasticity and healing, which is great for momentum and inspiration. And then there's also the online workbook, or even the online Rocksteady program, with more and more and more support tools as people.
The online store Rocksteady program is very useful, because well, I am doing right now in module 3, and it really helps you. It really helps with your audio, with your all the bonus that we have, understanding. No? And I think the way that you give us information to understand the whole process is very important. You know, step by step. It's like not rushing it. It's like understanding each step of our journey, no, to understand what we need to keep doing, no, and this is very interesting.
So that's fantastic. So you've read the book first. Now you're up to module 3 in the program. So you've decided.
Yeah, I did the whole thing because I read the book. Well, I was getting some information from your website, some of the understanding what is neuroplasticity, some of the YouTube videos that you have there. I also checked some of the patients the people that have been sharing their stories there, and also did the 7-day program, and now I am in the Rocksteady program and learning every day. And it's like, well, every day every week that I'm getting more information, because I change the exercises, I try to understand better your information, I listen to your audios, and well, learning and doing, no, and trying to feel it every day was a little bit more, no. And it worked, because for me, I needed to travel to Madrid 2 days ago, and it was overwhelming at the beginning for me, because it was the first time that I was going to travel it was the first time that I was going to travel that far away, and I was doing body scans on the train. I was doing body scans on the city, and I felt so proud of myself, because I could be there without feeling overwhelmed, no? And this power, you get your power back, your confidence back, no? And this is very important, especially because people look at you and you look okay, but inside you are not 100% fine. You have all these kind of feelings and sensations, no? And it's hard to explain to them what is going on inside you, no? And especially to understand that you can feel this way, no? And as you say, sharing this experience with people around the world make you will think or believe that you are not alone, not that there are more people like in
It,
this situation, and it's okay, and you are going to
it's
get through this.
it's actually ridiculously common. 1 in 3 people experience bothersome tinnitus or chronic dizziness. It's all ages, it's young people, it's older people, it's men, it's women, it's in all continents, it's everywhere. It really is part of the human experience, and it's a great shame that it's turned into this invisible, debilitating condition or medicalized abnormality where so many people are feeling lonely and misunderstood. And so part of me writing the Rocksteady book is to say, hey, we're actually normal and it's
Yeah,
reversible. You're not alone. Join a
yeah,
community and let's find out how you heal, because how you're going to heal and recover will be different to Silvia and different to me, but you'll be able to personalize it and figure that out by listening to your body and going through the steps and understanding the philosophy and the science,
yeah.
because it's not generic, it's not a prescription where so
Mhm.
many people think it should be and spend their money on things that are just generic prescriptions. And so there's limited scope for improvement.
And I think that we have a part, no? Now that we have discovered your book and your program, it's important if we are in contact with, I don't know, with our doctors or the person who has been helping us with the rehabilitation and so on, to share this knowledge, because some of them, they don't know about that.
Yeah,
And I have been sharing with the person the person that has been helping me at the beginning with my exercises, with my vestibular exercises. I share this information with her, no? And it's important because now she has the chance to learn more, no? And to explain in a different way to her patients, no? What can be done, or recommend your book or your website or even your program, no? Because I was telling her, I felt really alone. It's like I felt I was there alone and nobody was helping me, no? And I don't want anyone else to feel like that. Now you have lots of patients coming to you to try to help. Then please just let them know that there is a way, no? There is a different way to do things, no?
yeah,
And this is, I think it could be our role, just to to let them know that there is a different way, that it's possible. No? Don't allow people be stuck in this situation for years. I think that this is unbelievable. I have met so many, especially women, like going on this kind of dizziness for, one woman told me, for 18 years. And it's like, how could you be like that for 18 years? No? And there are so many cases like that.
yeah.
And how it's possible that nobody could help them, no? And I told them, well, now you have a way. The problem, I think maybe it's the English barrier, that it could be, no? Maybe you can think about translating the program to different
We're,
languages. It could
we're,
be.
we've got it.
Mhm.
We've got an agreement to get it translated already. I think into Polish, Russian, and maybe German. But we're hoping for
Okay.
lots of
Okay.
languages. Just a process,
Okay.
which is really exciting. And also, I try and give transcripts for all of my online audios, so
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
least
I know.
people
I know.
could use
I
Google
know.
Translate at the very least, which
But
is
sometimes it's old people, they are kind of like in the 50s, 60s, especially here in Spain, that maybe the language that they learned was French, because it was the time that they were learning maybe French, English. We started learning French, English, sorry, maybe it was when I was young, it was 45 years ago, something like that. No? That is the thing. I was thinking about people that surround me, and it's like, well, it is, no, that it could be very
I,
helpful. And
I
thank
think
you.
I think it's important just to recognize that this is using neuroplasticity science as an educational tool to give people
Mm-hmm,
skills to change their
mm-hmm,
brain, change their neural
mm-hmm,
pathways. It
mm-hmm.
is new, it's novel. When I was at university, I was like, why is no one doing this? Why is no one teaching this? And then I
Yeah.
realized not many people have the training at all. I was very, very unique and very, very
Mm-hmm,
lucky that I
mm-hmm.
had this information both through the yoga and mindfulness, through the neuroscience, through the psychology, through the audiology. And that's why I felt a responsibility to bring this information together in an easy to use manner.
No,
And
and we
I think
thank you. We thank you as a patient, because
I
through
think,
through your willingness, it was possible to have this kind of information available for
yeah.
all of us.
And I think with time, more people will learn more languages, more opportunities, more translations. But for now, I think it's about recognizing this is exciting, this is new, and definitely where possible. As Sylvia is saying, we need to spread the word. We need to let doctors know. We need to let physical therapists know, and audiologists, because they are potentially seeing vulnerable people and not giving these resources when the resources are now available. And the more people who request translations with time, the translations will come.
Pues
So
thank you. No, and thank for your work that you went through all the process and learning and so on, and now we can help so many people around the world. It's unbelievable. And the decision of doing online, I think it was very clever, because you can reach lots of people this way, no?
yeah, it's essential.
And and learning online, it's also very interesting, no? Nowadays that we have been just living in this pandemic situation, no? That all the information may be available online. It helps you to go through your process slowly and learning, and it's very useful. Thank you.
I have one last question for you. What are you a scientist in?
I work in food production mainly. I'm mainly working with insects right now, like using insects as a new ingredient for food product design. And this has been my research. And also I was trying to work with a new technology to detect COVID, but I didn't get the funds. But the idea is good, but it was not funded.
Yeah.
But yeah, and in the middle of everything, was well, it happened what it happened to me, and made me rethink my
I'm so pleased your sister pointed you in the direction of Rocksteady and that you felt welcome in our community. And thank you for taking the time to read and reread the book. And
no, thank you. Thank you.
I'm thrilled that you've taken the motivation and the initiative to keep learning. And I'm like you, I'm learning all the time. I'm humbled by the complexity of being a human being. And I think the Rocksteady process really never ends. It's this constant discovery and constant reminder to be present in the body and to ask myself, well, how am I feeling? Not what am I doing or thinking, but how am I feeling? And really embodying that and having skills and tools to respond to that. It is just such a beautiful gift and changes everything.
No, I agree. And I am just trying to share this vision with my kids, because I have kids. No? And I start asking them, how are you feeling? And applying some of I am trying for them to do the body scan. It was difficult for them to understand, but they are right now just doing, no? Because we are so used to ask them about things, but not about how they are feeling inside. No? And I think it's important for them to learn just to have a better present and future for them.
Yeah, wonderful. That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much. For anyone listening, Silvia is calling in from Catalonia in Europe. To learn more about me, visit seekingbalance.com.au. Everybody is welcome. We have an incredibly diverse global community. And the website's probably the best place to start. You can search for the book online. It's in its second print run, which will be available early September 2021. And it's available on ebook right away, but you can also pre-order the book now if you're wanting to get your hands on a copy. Yeah, beautiful. And an audiobook is also being launched at the same time in September, which is really exciting. So thank you so much. Thanks for listening. Thank you, Silvia, for your time.
Thank you.
Enjoy living in the beautiful Catalonia.
We have a nice weather and nice beaches now, and enjoy, and I'm feeling these good feelings inside.
Yeah, good. I'm so pleased. Well, it's a little bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.